Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our really exciting and interesting discussion on dawah. I just want to give some advice in respect to giving dawah to your family. This applies whether you are a Muslim, encouraging them to be better Muslims, or you are a Muslim and they are non-Muslim. My advice, especially with your family, is take it easy. You know, always remember the respect that you must give to your parents, to your elder brothers and sisters, and the compassion you should have towards your younger brothers and sisters and cousins and relatives. However, it doesn't mean that because they are your parents or your relatives that you shouldn't give them dawah. This is one of the wrong things about, I think, Indian, certainly from my experience of Pakistani culture. They feel it's impossible for them to talk to their parents. In fact, many parents, you know, even if their children talk to them, they slap them, shut up, and chup karo, give them a slap. But the fact that this is your father or your mother does not mean you should not give them dawah, and it does not mean that you should not talk to them. And the best example we have in this regard is who can we think of from the Quran, an example of someone who gave dawah to his father? Yeah?
Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Ibrahim alayhi salam. Jazakallah khair. And what a beautiful way Ibrahim talks to his father, Abbati, you know, like my dear father, in a very soft way. But even then his dad doesn't like it. His dad saying, if you don't shut up, I'm going to kill you. Basically, he starts threatening, I'm going to kill you if you don't be quiet. So the fact that his father is threatening him with death does not prevent Ibrahim from giving dawah to his father and making things clear to his father. So this is the best example for us, not our culture. Our best example for us is in the messengers. However, the point is that Ibrahim's approach was very gentle, it was very soft, he was very soft-hearted. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you could say, slightly told off Ibrahim, because Ibrahim is still giving dua for his dad, even though it becomes clear that his dad is, you know, totally against him, but he's so soft-hearted. So, subhanallah, especially, by the way, if you newly become Muslim. And part of this course is going to be talking about how to deal with new Muslims. Yeah? So we're not only talking about how to give dawah, we're going to be talking about how to look after the people you give dawah to when they become Muslim. Because inshallah, if you go out and you implement what you're going to be learning in this course, people will become Muslim inshallah. Definitely inshallah. So then what? If you remember our discussion about all the ajr, remember I said when they pray, when they fast, and then they have children, and their children pray and their children fast, you get rewarded for all of it. Yes? But that's only going to happen if they stay Muslim, right? If they take Shahada and then 3 days later, a week later, a month later, they leave Islam, you're not going to get the reward. So we need to think about how we are going to not only get people to become Muslim, but we need to think about how we retain these people. It's looking after the new Muslims. This is an essential part of the dawah as well. So the point being here is that when people become Muslim, you should advise them. Yes, you should give dawah to your family and your parents. Of course you should. But my advice is always take it easy. Most of the time, my experience is that most really sincere new Muslims, the ones who are sincere and most enthusiastic and passionate, you know, they just go running in, blasting with all guns everywhere, you know, trying to say everything to their family and their parents and give them dawah, you know, and explain Islam to them, and this is haram and you can't do this, and, you know, and it's going to cause a lot of friction. This is the mistake I made. You see? So we need to have a gentle approach. Slowly, slowly. And also, if we follow the methodology that we're going to be learning, inshallah, that will help as well. Okay? So you start with your family and your relatives. The nice thing about family and relatives, they say you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Your family is always your family. And they are more likely to forgive you when you make mistakes. They're more likely to overlook your mistakes. So there's no one better than to start your dawah skills practicing with than your family, because when you make mistakes, they're going to be more likely to forgive you, inshallah. Okay? So you start with your family, you start with your friends, and your neighbors. So the people who have the most right to you giving dawah to them are your neighbors. Right? And then the ones closest to you, and then the ones closest to you, like that. Okay? So these are the people who are most worthy of giving dawah. Also, generally, the best people to give dawah to a people is someone from their own people. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He always chose messengers from amongst themselves. So generally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose a messenger from amongst the people to give dawah to their own people, because that's just the nature of human beings. You're more likely, not always, but you're more likely to listen to someone from your own kind. It is not always the case though. Right? Sometimes if there is a civilization or a group of people that are looked up to for some whatever reason, it may be economic reason, like a lot of people look up to the West. So sometimes someone, for example, coming from the West, people will listen to this person in a way they may not even listen to their own people. But this is an exception. Generally, people listen to their own people the best, the most. And the other reason is that you will understand the culture of your people. You will understand their mentality. However hard I try, I will never be able to understand the culture of Indians or the people in Bombay. And similarly, you will not be able to understand, however much you study and try, the culture in UK on the same level as someone who has spent all of their life there and has been brought up there. Yeah? So as we're going to see, this is a very important dimension of dawah. We're going to talk about that, so I don't want to preempt it. So how about leaders? How about giving dawah to the leaders? Who should give dawah to the leaders? You tell me now. Who should give dawah to the leaders? Is giving dawah to leaders, the leaders in society, important? Yes or no? What do you think? Okay, why? What's your proof for that? Yes? Arshi? Is it just going to be you speaking? The whole you and Sadiq and that's it?
You are the one who will decide. We just raise our hands.
Oh, go ahead. What's the proof that...
Who should give dawah to the leaders?
No. We said, should we give dawah to the leaders? Yeah, and you agreed. So I'm asking you, what's the proof? Why? Yes.
The proof, you'll see it in all the prophets. You look at Salih al-Islam, you look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you look at, and they were all from noble families.
Okay.
Pretty much, so we know that.
Okay, so that doesn't really answer my question. So who should give dawah to the leaders then?
The most prominent person from the Muslim community.
Okay, so generally, people from the ruling elite should be giving dawah to people from the ruling elite. In other words, it's people from that section of society who should give dawah to the people from that section of society, generally, right? True or not? And that's true because this is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose His prophets from amongst the nobility of the people. Because an essential part of dawah, you will find it, and this is clear through the stories of the prophets, is that they did make a lot of effort in trying to give dawah to the leaders of society. Why do you think that is? Yes, my dear brother. Your name is, to remind me?
Okay. Ashar.
Ashad, yes.
Because leader has many followers. Okay, if we give dawah to one leader,
yes,
so maybe their followers may follow him and accept Islam.
Excellent. Very good point. So, this is efficient. Giving dawah to leaders is efficient. Because although we know historically we know historically, in reality, historically, which type of people historically have followed Islam? Which type of people generally, historically, have actually chosen to follow Islam? Which type of people? The leaders or which type of people? Yes.
Poor and the needy.
The poor people. Does anyone know what's an evidence of that?
Can I?
Yeah.
The followers of Noah. The followers of
The followers of Noah.
and followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
The
wasallam.
followers of the Prophet.
Yes, and most of the Prophet's followers are the poor and the needy.
Yes. Okay, brothers. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away. We'll be back soon, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our Dawah workshop. This is many times in the Quran when Allah is describing the particular dawah of a prophet to his people, then the leaders of the people say, only the low people follow you. There's just not Nuh. You will find this happens with many of the stories of the prophets. The leaders are saying, only the poor people and the nobodies, they follow you. So you expect us to join up with them? So this is their arrogance. And also, it is one of the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, describes the encounter of Abu Sufyan with Heraclius, who was the Roman emperor. And Heraclius starts to ask Abu Sufyan certain questions because he wants to find out, is Muhammad a prophet or not? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he knows from his Christianity, from his studies, prophets have certain attributes and certain qualities. And so one of the things he asks Abu Sufyan, who follows him? Is it the poor people or is it the rich people? He says, no, it's the poor people. He said, well, then he explains later, that's how it always is with the prophets. However, that doesn't stop the prophets always trying really hard with the leaders. And the reason is it's efficient. If one leader becomes Muslim, then the likelihood is the people will follow, right? But if you're giving dawah to every single individual person, and in India, for example, alone, we have what? 7 billion or something, subhanallah. And 72% of them live in villages. Okay, there's 17% plus Muslim, but still, that's still a huge number. If we wanted to give dawah to each individual person in India, more effective would be if the chief or the landlord or the, you understand, if they were guided to Islam, then the tendency would be the people would follow that, right? This is certainly true in Africa. I know, subhanAllah, a beautiful story about a brother in UK who was a chauffeur. He was a chauffeur. And one of his regular clients was a chief from some part of Africa, and he was a chief or a king. And he would pick him up regularly from the airport, and he would, mashallah, he's a cab driver, but he would give him dawah. He would talk to him about Islam. So one day, after some years, this chief, he had said, you know what, I want to become Muslim. He actually accepted Islam. And then he went back, and all of his people became Muslim. So can you imagine this one brother, he was just a chauffeur, picking this guy up from the airport every now and then. But he would use this opportunity to give dawah, and this brother is getting the reward of all of these people, the whole of this chief and his people to become Muslim. So this happens still in Africa, this is common. Some of the brothers from our organization, IERA, they were in Africa, and they met a lady. She was the chiefess, I don't know what you call a female chief, but she was the female chief. And she had become Muslim, and all of her people, not all of them, but most of them followed her and became Muslim. Similarly, what is the impact of someone like Yusuf Islam, who used to be Cat Stevens, becoming Muslim? What is the impact of someone like Muhammad Ali? So I know that it depends from society to society and culture to culture. But in some societies, these celebrities really do have importance, and they have a type of big influence. I don't know about in India, but I noticed in the newspaper, you see sometimes they have these little statements, you know, this MP says that, this such and such, you know, person, and they have this movie star says that. So the fact that they include the statement of a movie star means that that must be significant. They must give what these people say some importance in society. Otherwise, they would not be quoting them. So what would be the impact of, you know, some big movie star becoming and properly becoming Muslim and following Islam? It's very profound. Even in societies where these people are not looked at as being influential, they still have some influence, especially when they turn from bad to good. So the point being here, it depends. Sports personalities, it could be, or it could be political leaders. Any type of leader, the effect of the leader becoming Muslim is very, very strong. Now, as we've seen from Rabia and this taxi driver that I gave the example of, you don't have to be a leader to give da'wah to the leaders. But generally it is from Allah's wisdom that He chose the prophets to be from the mal'a, or to be from the leaders of society, because generally, by and large, the elite will listen to their own. That's generally how it is. And they're more likely to listen. Yeah? Okay, alhamdulillah. So I don't want this to prevent you, brothers. You know, the fact that, oh, these people are from this place in the society and I'm not from there. It shouldn't prevent you from, subhanAllah, giving da'wah or saying something. It shouldn't prevent you at all. Or the fact that you think you're Indian and I can't talk to an Englishman. No, that shouldn't stop you whatsoever. Ballighuni wallah ayah. Convey from me even if it is one ayah. And I want to tell you my own story. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. You can easily find it on YouTube, Abdur Raheem Green, how he came to Islam. If you listen to that story, you will find that one of the people who had a very big impact on me was someone who came to talk to me. And although I was working as just an but I was sent by the boats. So although I was working just, you know, as a crew member, in reality, the job I was doing, I was stuff like that. So the position. So, but even it didn't stop the fact that what he was saying to me had such a big impact. And of course I was arrogant and I was proud, but the truth is the truth. When he said it, had a huge impact on me. And I wasn't ready to accept what he was saying straight away, but the fact that he made me understand deep truths about Christianity and about what my belief system was and how certain things were wrong, it didn't matter who said it. The truth had that impact. Yeah? So you never know, brothers, everybody listening, please. You might never know the impact of what you're saying. When the Prophet is saying, Ballighu anni, subhanallah, what is one thing you may say that may totally make that person think, wow, that's amazing. So don't underestimate just the little effort you make in da'wah. You know this brother who gave me da'wah? I don't think he knows. You know, here am I talking, I'm on TV, how people are listening. He probably doesn't even know. He'll just know when we meet Allah on the Day of Judgment. SubhanAllah. Fantastic, huh? So don't underestimate the impact of a word you could say here or something you could say there. Don't think that you have to go through the whole thing that we're going to be teaching. We're going to be teaching some things over in this course, and you may think, no, unless I can say the whole thing, I don't need to say anything. No, sometimes it's just enough even for me just to say, I'm a Muslim. You know, like here in I just make a